we've got the casting almost locked down for the new rom-com.
Alright.
We've got Zendaya for the leading lady.
Isn't it Zendaya?
Zendaya. Oh, is it? Oh, I don't know. Zendaya. Anyway, we got Zendaya down. We just have to come up with some ideas for who will be her leading man.
Well, what about Chris Hemsworth?
Chris Hemsworth, too blonde.
What about Hugh Grant?
Hugh Grant, too old.
I don't know then.
How about Danny Trejo?
Well, if Hugh Grant's too old, then Danny Trejo's definitely too old, right?
Yeah, but he's got that mysterious, dangerous mystique about him. Girls love that shit. He'd be perfect. He's a great romantic lead.
You're right. Casting approved. Hello, and welcome to the Random Movie Time Actors Spotlight Special. Today we're going to be discussing Danny Trejo, the famous Mexican-American tough guy character actor who's been in everything from Spy Kids to Breaking Bad. Specifically his movie Machete, which came out in 2010, directed by his good friend Robert Rodriguez, who also directed him in the Spy Kids trilogy as the same character. And that movie also stars Jessica Alba and Robert De Niro. And a few other things that we're going to be discussing about are how he got to be an actor and how he started. And he's actually has a very interesting history as an actor and just as a person. What do you think about Danny Trejo, Shannon?
Well, he's quite the character. He's got a very colorful past. I don't know if you're all aware, but he had a very troubled past. He started out in and out of penitentiary or jail very young on drug charges. He was a drug addict. In fact, he was almost slated to be executed when he was a teenager. But then he turned his life around, and he accidentally, apparently, became an actor because he was, what was it? He was counseling somebody, or no, he was in a program with somebody, AA. He was in a program with AA, and they asked him to come to set to support him. And he went to the set, and they saw him at the movie studio, and they said, "Hey, how would you like to be an extra?" And he got the acting bug from then on, and he started acting, getting bit parts here and there. He's always cast as a tough guy, not necessarily a bad guy all the time. Although he has been a bad guy quite often. Like he was in Breaking Bad, and he's been in lots of TV shows as like kind of like the gangster type. And so I mean I really like Danny Trejo. I can't say if he's a good or a bad actor because he doesn't. He always kind of plays the same sort of character, and that might be because he's typecast or because that's what he wants to do, and that's fine. I mean, he does it well. I guess he also took up boxing when he was in jail, so he's done a lot of boxing, and he touched on a little martial arts there for a bit too, so he's very well rounded, and apparently he has a bunch of restaurants, like a chain of restaurants in California. He grew up in LA, so interesting fellow with interesting connections and very interesting past. And yeah, so I have a lot of respect for the guy. I mean, I don't know him personally, but his story, it's very I have a lot of respect for him.
Yeah.
And what do you say, Tommy? What do you think?
Oh, yeah, I really like him. I thought, he is absolutely hilarious as Machete, and really great action performance there as well. But that was just such a fun, over-the-top movie. He's no stranger to special effects. We mentioned that he was in Breaking Bad. There's a scene in Breaking Bad where his decapitated head is crawling across the desert because it's been strapped to a giant tortoise, right? And apparently...
Because his name was Tortuga.
Because his name was Tortuga, right?
Yeah.
And apparently the idea for that scene came about because somebody contacted, I think, Vince Gilligan, the creator of Breaking Bad, and they said, oh, hey, we've got this cast of Danny Trejo's head. We know he's in your show. Could you use this cast of his head for anything? And so I think he wrote that scene specifically around it, the fact that they got this free decapitated head from some other horror movie that he was in.
Yeah.
So that turned out pretty well. Apparently he plays the same character in the Spy Kids movies, although I've never seen those.
What are you working on?
World's smallest camera.
I don't see it.
But it sees you.
Those, there's some kids movies that I like, for example, the Harry Potter movies, but the Spy Kids movies just look a little too cheap and childish for me, like they just the ads didn't really do anything for me. But I know Robert Rodriguez can do really amazing stuff. Like he did the first, he did all the mariachi movies, and I really like the mariachi movies. The first one, especially, that's how he got started.
And he's done a lot of video game voices too.
Oh, that's right.
He was in Grand Theft Auto Vice City and Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah, he played Raoul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's got a great voice. Like his voice is almost as distinctive as his face, you could say.
Yeah, you can tell it's him for sure.
Salma Hayek had an interesting anecdote about him. So, in Machete, you can see it very well. He's got this huge tattoo of a woman's face on his chest, and that's his real tattoo, the one that he got back in prison back in the day. And the first time he met Salma Hayek, he opened his shirt and said, "I knew you before I knew you." And she's like, "There's this woman on his chest that looks exactly like me," and apparently he dreamt up this woman and had the tattoo artist, make a picture of her, and it ended up looking exactly like her. So that's an interesting connection there as well.
Yeah, well, getting back to the Spy Kids thing, I hadn't realized that the Machete character was made for the Spy Kids movies. I thought it was the other way around, but I mean, definitely, it's really interesting to me that, this Spy Kids, kids movie takes a character and makes this Machete movie about him, because this is definitely not a kids movie.
No. No.
Machete is gory
at
times and very violent.
Yeah.
So it's not something I would suggest a kid watch.
Right. A lot of nudity and sexuality as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Danny Trejo. Yeah, he gets a lot of action in this movie.
He sleeps with Lindsay Lohan. He sleeps with Jessica Alba. He sleeps with Michelle Rodriguez.
Yeah.
He gets around.
He sure does.
Machete came to be because a few years prior, there was a movie that came out called Grindhouse, and this was a double feature with Quentin Tarantino. So Quentin Tarantino directed one movie, which was Death Proof, and then Robert Rodriguez directed another movie called Planet Terror, and they were both shown back to back in cinemas, just like the good old-fashioned double features like we used to see in the 70s and 80s. And between the two movies, they decided to make some fake trailers for non-existent movies just for fun. And one of them was Machete, and the crowd reaction was so over the top that they decided to make a real movie. So pretty much all the footage you see in the movie of Machete was also in the trailer, but then they had to shoot a whole bunch of other stuff as well to make it a story.
That's so amazing. What a great story.
Yeah. And the one shot, which I didn't think would end up in the movie for some reason, but did, was when he takes a minigun and he straps it onto the front of a motorcycle and then jumps the motorcycle and shoots a bunch of guys as he's driving the motorcycle. And, I mean, I don't know why I didn't think that shot would make it, because I thought it looked too cool. I was like, they're going to mess it up. They're not going to have that really cool shot from the trailer. But they did, so it was awesome. And, yeah, every shot I can think of that was in the original trailer, I'm pretty sure was in the movie, so it wasn't false advertising. Machete was just as over the top as that. You've got actors giving sort of deliberately campy performances. I don't think anybody would say this is their best work, but it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be kind of like a cheesy 1970s B-movie action style type of thing.
Oh yeah, they totally set out to make it like a Grindhouse feature kind of.
Right down to the fake scratches on the film and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that first kind of intro part, he's still in Mexico, and that's all like grainy, and they really...
This is one movie that's probably not worth it to buy it in 4K or Blu-ray, because like it's like deliberately so scratchy, so you might as well just get the DVD because it'll be cheaper. But anyway, yeah, really fun movie.
Oh yeah, there's so many. I have trouble with gore sometimes. Like there's like one scene where somebody's intestines are being like dragged, like pulled out across the floor.
Right.
But that didn't bother me in this movie because, I mean, this is going to sound crazy, but this movie's hilarious. I mean, the gore has to be there. It's part of their kind of tribute, I guess, to the Grindhouse and those old features, those old B movies. Yeah. And I think everybody involved knew that they really milked it for all it's worth. I mean, they're very aware that it's that it's not a serious movie. Yeah. And I was very pleasantly surprised because I wasn't really that interested in seeing Machete, but because I'm not like a kind of violent movie for the sake of violent movie type person, but so I was really pleasantly surprised when we watched this film because it wasn't what I expected, and it was really entertaining, and I think all the actors did an amazing job because it takes talent to kind of do a spoof like this, True. You can't take yourself too seriously. Yeah. But you have to take yourself seriously enough to kind of pull it off, and right. And the shots were amazing. Oh, and there's one character, the Padre, who really reminded me of the Padre in Cyberpunk 2077, but not quite as dour. But he was
Cheech Marin, yeah.
Oh, he was, that's right. It was played by Cheech. Yeah, he was really good. I was kind of a little disappointed because I was hoping he wouldn't take advantage of all the women he did. But,
right.
But, that kind of made me roll my eyes a little, but, I mean, I'll forgive it because of the nature of the film and because, no offense to Danny Trejo, but how did he get all these women to sleep with him, really? I mean, I guess some women like the
danger.
The danger. But yeah, some really, like I say, really good acting. Some really, really great shots. Really great stunts. Like, just some stuff you just wouldn't believe.
So how many machetes would you give this out of 5?
Well, I definitely will give it a 5. 5 out of 5 machetes. I think it's not for everybody, but it's really funny, and I think it's a great tribute to those kind of B movies, those Grindhouse B movies. Mm-hmm. What about you, Tommy?
Yeah, I'll give it 5 machetes out of 5 also. It's just the kind of movie you didn't know you wanted until you saw it, and then you can't live without it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I guess we got to drive to the taco stand because all of their drivers are part of the network, and they're out helping Machete and She on some important, vengeful business. So with that, we'll see you next time on Random Movie Time.